At what point does a hazy memory of odd media become an urge for us to start a search to find it? We all have these memories. You can talk to anyone and I'm sure they'd have their own story of that thing they could never find, or maybe they found theirs. Either way, it's such a prevalent occurrence that r/tip of my tongue, the subreddit that's mission is to solve as many hazy memories as possible, has 2.1 million members. Today I'm going to be sharing the third batch of some of the most disturbing unsolved posts. Let's get into the entries. Looking for a scary claymation safety video that used to play on a certain ride at a local amusement park that gave me nightmares as a kid. Hi Reddit, this is my first time actually posting on this thread, but I've lurked for a while. I have a piece of lost media that has really stuck with me and gave me nightmares as a child, but it's something really obscure. It took me to drunkenly ramble about it to my fiance that I've decided to bring it up here to get help on my little mini search. The only thing that's annoying with this is that it's local to where I lived as a kid, or maybe it was played somewhere else, I'm not sure. But it was something that would play at my local amusement park. Let me explain. I lived in Las Vegas, Nevada my whole childhood. My father made chandeliers for the casinos that landed him a job here when I was an infant. If you lived in this tourist town in the 2000s and had/were a kid, chances are you've heard of the Adventure Dome, an indoor amusement park in the Circus Casino. The Adventure Dome is an indoor amusement park to beat the awful Vegas dry heat. It has multiple roller coasters and things for young children and adults. I haven't been there since I was 11, I'm 18 now. From the age of 5, my birthday parties were always there. I was born in mid-July, where temps go up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit plus, so it was my birthday party go-to. One specific ride was one of those 4D theater rides. It was a SpongeBob 4D ride that I believe they had in other amusement parks all over America. You can find the one I'm talking about on YouTube. At the Adventure Dome, you'd walk down this hall to get to the line, and when one 4D ride was ending, you and some other people in line that could fit in one theater were put in this really dark room for about what felt 5 to 10 minutes with a door locked to the theater. I think it gave people time to clean up and leave. The only thing in this dark room was a TV that played the animation I'm talking about. It was crudely done 90s looking claymation. It looked like something Nickelodeon could have made. The whole video was about safety in the theater. If you were pregnant or had heart conditions or didn't have your seatbelt on, you could be threatening your health. Like, I understand the meaning, but the animation was, well, as a kid, deeply unnerving. The lighting in the video was weird. I don't know if this animation was made for Adventure Dome itself, but it showed from my memory claymation puppets of different colors exploding and bleeding out. There were screams, and the claymation puppets just looked uncanny as a whole, even when they were following the rules. I remember it made me cry, and when I got older and went into the ride, I'd see younger kids cry over it too. It's so strange. I've had nightmares about it and tried to avoid the ride thanks to this claymation safety video every birthday. As I've gotten older, I've tried searching for it online, but I can't find anything. I've thought about going to the amusement park, trying to see if they still played it. That will be my last-ditch effort. I literally still have the nightmare occasionally. I want to see if it was as bad as I remember it to be. Please, if you have a friend from Vegas or know anything about this video, please let me know. I'm willing to give all the information I know. This was posted by Pickled Cockroach over 3 years ago now. User Olive Boliv said they used to have the SpongeBob 4D ride at Canada's Wonderland outside of Toronto, but that it was lacking a freaky video, so we can assume it was probably unique to the Las Vegas location. Subsetsum presented Lee Hardcastle, a clay animator who is most well known for his style of gory parodies of children's television, like Thingu, a mesh of Pingu and John Carpenter's The Thing. Or the animation the user linked, T is for Toilet, which was featured in the ABCs of Death, that tells the story of a young boy's potty training experience gone wrong. They wondered if maybe it was a creation of Hardcastle's. This user linked a video of SpongeBob SquarePants 4D Special Effects Theater Experience, but it sadly didn't contain the PSA. However, Goro87 provided some evidence that others were trying to hunt down this disconcerting childhood memory. Hello, I was just browsing Reddit and this post gained my attention. I have absolutely no knowledge of your area, I'm from Italy, but I have myself some weird claymotion related nightmarish memories from my childhood, and I know what it means to find back those kind of videos as an adult. So I made a small research and I found a couple of videos that may or may not be what you're looking for. especially the second video that I found in the comments on the first video, where someone brought up specifically the video you seem to be talking about. These look very closely similar, though it's not what I remember. Thank you though for looking, these look really close. Also, my family is from Italy, I hope the summer is treating you well. But these people in the YouTube comments were not the only ones who remembered. I know the animation you're talking about. They weren't bleeding out, one did get eaten by a lion though. I think they still run the safety video if I recall correctly. Your memory is just doing that thing where it makes shit scary retroactively. I would kill to find it though. Oh my god, yes. I've been searching for this exact video for hours now, with practically no recollection of the ride or whatever park it was, just of the claymation. Was it the Happy Feet ride? When I saw the title, I had a feeling it was the Adventure Dome, and I can't believe it really was. I live in Las Vegas currently, and I can assure you that the video still plays before, I think, the Happy Feet ride, and it always made me feel uncomfortable too, lol. Edit. I'm on the search for it. If I can't find it online, I'll try to get a recording of it for you. Oh, that's great. I'm about ready to get a pass to the adventure just to go see it and record it. Neither gave any further update, and I did do a little search myself for the PSA, but to no avail. However, it very well could be hidden somewhere on the internet. And while played before both the SpongeBob and Happy Feet 4D rides, according to the Circus Circus website, neither exist anymore. So for now, this is a piece of lost media that I hope will eventually turn up and be able to mark this post as solved. Anyone remember / heard of this scary website? I can't really remember the name of it or all of its content, but it was this really spooky website that a friend at my school told me to visit. This was around 2008 to 2009, I think. It was a dark website with a video on it. The video was in a similar fashion to the tape from The Ring. I'm almost sure there was a person in the video who, himself in the head. I think the video was about someone who went down the sewer slide. It might have been a true story, but probably not. There was a small picture of a face next to the video player, and once the video ended, a message appeared which I think said something about a phone call. When the message appeared, the website froze and the face started to move, and I remember freaking the F out when this happened. I'm getting Candle Cove vibes from this memory because I don't know a single person who ever heard of it, but I'm 100% sure it existed. I have no contact with this friend anymore, which is why I haven't asked her about it. Thought maybe someone here knows about it. If it still exists, I would like to explore it again. I never entered that website again because it scared me pretty badly. I was like 12 at the time. Would be fun to get some context what it was all about. OP had cross-posted to r/horror, which also didn't have the answer, but a user over there asked if it could be the Grifter, the creepypasta urban legend originating from 4chan that says it's a soul-rending experience, so I'm gonna go ahead and say it's not. But OP replied to that comment adding some additional details, like the contents of the site were in black and white. Once the face moved, it would start smiling. Then the site would turn into static noise lag, and the only way to close it out was with Alt F4. I'm not 100% sure about the phone call, but I do have a strong memory of being afraid that my phone would get a call. I might have been relating this to The Ring, which I had already seen at the time. The thing I'm 10,000% sure about, though, is that freaking face and the website freezing once you had finished the clip. This post had a whopping total of 10 comments, one being from the notifier bot and another being OP's required comment for a tip of my tongue post to be approved. The first suggestion was from Sonic Hedgehog 1991 with huge shot in the dark, but the part about the moving face reminds me of the most recent Local 58 video. Not the one. I doubt anyone knows about this. Feels really strange because I'm 100% sure it's a real site that existed once. At the time, it was literally one of the scarier things I had seen. Best of luck to you, man. Saving this because I'm really curious about what you found. Hugo the Nerd asked if it was Lomando.com, an online horror puzzle video game that features screamers and gore with the goal being to get through all of them. I actually didn't know about it until this post, but it seems like a fictional animated version of Run the Gauntlet that's first disguised as being cute. While an interesting site, it unfortunately was not what OP was looking for. The third and final suggestion was TechZoned, a website with flash games and animations, most notably known for the Insanity Test and a Where's Waldo screamer. The site had various other jumpscare animations, so it could have been what hosted the video OP was referring to. But the series is labeled unsolved for a reason, and the website has yet to be found. looking for the origin of a presumably horror game character. So this is a bit of a weird and admittedly vague one, but some time ago my friend sent me a picture simply called mutant.png. The model is that of a deformed baby, which looks like it comes from a PS2 era video game. I'd imagine it's from some sort of horror title, probably more psychological than jump scare and action, but with a character design like that, it could also be from a parody horror game, really. Tiny warning, the model might be a bit hard to look at if you're extremely hyper squeamish, but you'll see way worse in every Resident Evil game ever, so if you can put up with that, you're good. Anyway, here's the creature. If anybody knows the origin of this thing, please let me know, although that is the point of this subreddit, so if you hoard that information to yourself, I'm not sure why you're here. Cheers. In case anybody mentions it, my friend got mutant.png from one of his friends who didn't know where it was from when asked. It could be from LSD Dream Emulator. I don't remember that model specifically, but there's a lot of weird stuff in that game. One of the first things it reminded me of, but I figured the model, and texture to be fair, was too high quality for a PS1 game. Still gave it a look anyway, but couldn't find anything. Maybe one of the Silent Hill games, or maybe it's Half-Life 1? Looked through that as my first thought, but I can't seem to find anything. This is probably a totally obscure game, and that's annoying, lol. And that is all we have. 3 ideas. When I saw that this only had a mere 3 ideas, I knew I had to put it in the video, to give it more attention in an attempt to find the source of this strange image. Now, this might be an easy find and I'm just unaware of it, like, maybe it's somewhat common knowledge and isn't an insanely obscure game, I'm honestly unsure. I did do a reverse image search on Yandex, Tinai, Google, and other random search engines, but it got me nowhere. The only remotely similar photo that popped up was of this character from Spyro 2, but I'm confident in saying this is not from Spyro. Then I had the thought that it could just be a model one of their friends made, which is a possibility that we need to stay aware of. And maybe it's nothing more than that, but I honestly hope it is more. And I hope someone out there has an answer, a lead, or anything at all, because there's just something about this photo that makes me want to know its origins. I'm going to keep looking around on my own, but if you have the solution, let me know so we can put this search to rest. Creepy animated movie that I saw when I was younger. I remember randomly watching this movie because it was being broadcast on the Danish kids channel called DR Ramachang. It must have been around 2012 to 2014. I don't remember the movie in its entirety, but I'll try to go through it as good as I can. I remember the movie being computer animated, but I don't think that it was a very high quality computer animation. The movie starts out with our main character being a young girl who loves and looks up to her parents. I remember the girl sitting at a vanity with her mother, admiring how beautiful she thinks that her mother is. It goes on like that for a bit, with her loving and admiring her parents. But as our main character gets older, she starts to think less and less of her parents. Now she finds them embarrassing and annoying, she even starts to find them ugly and gross. Later in the movie, she gets a boyfriend, which is a huge relief for her because she finally can be around someone her own age. At some point, her boyfriend gets a facial piercing, which inspires the main character to get one for herself. Her parents are, however, not happy with this, and this is when the movie starts to get really weird. Her father starts talking about how she can get her piercings for free if she lets him pierce her face. He then goes on to demonstrate how he will do so by laying the mother down on the dinner table, then taking a hand drill and drilling screws into the mother's face. After that, both of the parents start to chase the main character and her boyfriend around the house. Trying to escape from them, the main character and her boyfriend climb up the chimney of her house, but an explosion goes off in the background, and the movie hits a sort of reset. We then see similar scenarios where the main character and her boyfriend tries to escape her crazy parents, right up to the point where they're once again climbing the chimney. The main character then comes to the conclusion that if she wants to escape her parents, she'll have to kill them. She then breaks the fourth wall and looks directly at the viewer, and then says something along the lines of, "Don't worry, it's just a cartoon." I remember being really freaked out by this part. I don't really remember much of the movie after that, but I do remember seeing the end credits roll. I don't really remember what the characters looked like, but I'm pretty sure that the mother wore a long green dress with pink dots. I also can't exactly say where the movie was from, but the version I saw was dubbed in Danish. I am pretty sure that the movie comes from a Western country, either that or it's East European. I really hope that someone can help me find this movie because I've been searching for it for years now. I remember that the channel would broadcast lesser known animated movies. I, for example, do remember seeing the movie Anna and the Moods on the channel, which is a somewhat similar movie, but it's definitely not the one that I'm looking for. Here's a bad illustration of what I remember the mother looking like. I wanted to put this entry last as an homage to volume 1 of this series because it gives major Charisse Denise vibes, and I had happened to put that post last in volume 1. Link in the description, by the way, for a playlist of this series, but okay, let's get onto the rest of the entry. Jeepers, what a disturbing animation. I mean, keep in mind OP watched it when they were a child. It's entirely possible the actual film is far more lighthearted and goofier than what OP remembers. Lightheartedly inserting screws into mommy's face. How goofy. Maybe she wasn't inserting screws into her face, maybe she was piercing her mom and OP thought it was something more sinister. Spadoogs, the OP, replied to this comment with, "This scene really stuck with me, so I'm pretty sure that the father hammered or screwed nails into the mother's face. However, keep in mind that cartoon violence and real-life violence are two very different things." I'm sure that Tom and Jerry would sound super messed up if you described it to someone who's never seen it before. This scene in particular just really disturbed me. Commenting because I want the answer. What a trip reading this post was. I can't understand why this was for kids. But this user asked if OP was sure it definitely was aimed at children or if it could have been an adult animation disguised as such. I'm only assuming that it was a children's movie because it was broadcast on a children's channel. But it definitely wouldn't be the first time that someone had mistaken adult animation for kids animation. Mana the Mana commented, "I see in your other post you notice a logo but can't remember it exactly. Can you remember it roughly or any elements of it at all?" The way I remember it, it was a simplified old TV, but at this point I can't be sure. I could try to illustrate it, but I also don't want to put fake images into people's heads. But this user insisted any sketch would be helpful since there could be similarities that make it easy to identify, so Spadoogs created a few renditions of the logo from their memory. So the logo looks a lot like the Studio B Productions logo, but after doing a lot of investigation, it doesn't appear that they worked on any 3D animations, at least not that I can find. Does this look similar to what you remember anyway, or am I way off? It definitely looks similar to what I had in mind, but at this point I don't even know how reliable my memory is. Thanks a bunch though, I really appreciate the interest. Mana the Mana's last question to help the search was if OP could provide any examples to art or cartoons that were stylistically similar to the film. Besides my own masterpiece, then here's some screenshots that I found from other movies that I feel have the same visual vibe. As the thread went on, it seemed like there was no proof of this mysterious film's existence, not even a recommendation on what the movie itself might be. Someone from OP's first post about it even said, "That sounds like a dream. I'm not saying it was one, but that it sounds like one." But then this user showed up, whose entire profile was dedicated to finding the same thing. I literally just posted about this today and a lovely Redditor guided me here. I definitely got a bunch of facts wrong, but here's my post in case there's anything you/others can use. I think the only extra things I got is a description of the girl, white, blonde, skinny teen, and I'm quite sure it was from an earlier year, roughly 2007 to 2009. Really hoping we can find it. Now, their sister did remember it as a show, but OP pointed out how the fact that the movie would do a reset every time she felt it getting rid of her parents could cause them to misremember it as a series. OP also asked if the user was from Denmark. As soon as I read your post, I just knew it was what we looked for, even down to your drawing of the mom character. It just unlocked something in my brain. And yes, I'm from Denmark. Part of me feels like it might be Danish, but my sister is pretty sure it was dubbed, so maybe Scandinavian? Or just anything that wasn't originally English. Would make so much sense as to why it's impossible to find and no one really knows it because it would be pretty niche. It's really annoying me that I remember the logo you drew so well, but I have no clue which channel it was. I keep thinking it's Cartoon Network, but they never had that logo, and I've been checking both Danish and international channels like Boomerang, Ramajan, Nickelodeon, Sun Studio, Toonami, TV2, Jetix, anything I could dig up, and I can't find it. I might be missing channels, but I can't think of or find any more that I know I watched. I think it might be some obscure sub-channel or something. OP replied saying their memory of the logo was for the production company, not the logo for the channel, and that they saw the logo when the credits were rolling. Oh yeah, that would make a lot of sense. I clearly remember the logo, so I think you're very close to the actual design. I'll try looking into production companies instead. That was the last comment on the post 89 days ago, and This unsettling children's film has yet to be found, but I sure hope it can be. It's always reassuring when someone else remembers that vague, cloudy recollection of yours and proves you're not crazy. Sometimes it's never found, and a shared memory is all you're left with. Still satisfactory in its own right, though. Our brains are like huge memory cards that consume media throughout our entire life, so it's impossible to remember every piece, let alone the name of some weird thing you saw as a child. But we at least thankfully sometimes get the answers from Reddit. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've linked below each post, because maybe someone out there has the answers for these people, or maybe they will forever be unsolved. Either way, thank you.